Alright, starting off our legacy trial here. On the left hand, we have David. He is playing Lance. And we have Jan Jaap on the right playing Taxes. We have a beautiful set of companions here, which is sarcastic or not, depending on how you view the companion mechanic. uh, yeah, that's a controversial one for sure. But interesting to see Kahira being picked up by Ooh, and passes the turn. Now, he does have 2 vials, so should be able to deploy whatever he might have. There's a few things. I see a Spirit of the Labyrinth, and not quite sure what the other cards are. Maybe a Flicker Wisp? But if I was David here, I would definitely try and look to maybe apply some pressure here. He's in a very commanding spot here, I'd say. It's definitely on Jan Jaap to try and answer to this. Field of the Dead, also a very good clock. It's something white with flash. Is that a containment priest? No way, right? What is that? Oh wait, I have a deck list. Hang on. Is that a Dark Commando? Yeah, that is a Cathar Commando. Interesting. Fairly recent card. Also something you don't see every day. Interesting effect as well. Looks like Jan Jaap sacrificed the commando to try and get rid of the pithing needle on Ether Vial. In response, David decided, you know what, I'm getting rid of one of the Ether Vials. Probably a good call. And shuffling an 80 card deck, I can say from experience, is not fun. I mean, you get used to it. It's not quite a commander deck, but it's chunky. That's for sure. And then with the pithing needle gone, Spirit of the Labyrinth is going to come into play. At the moment, not really a very relevant effect, but it could end up becoming a relevant effect. Let's see here. Do we see any? No, actually, I don't see any real card draw from David's side here. I mean, you'd expect something like a Sylvan Library, but I don't see it anywhere. Flicker Wisp is an interesting one, however. Diamond comes back and is going to get sacrificed. And then we pick up the Punishing Fire again at the end of Jan Jaap's turn. So Flicker Wisp, good at taking out box diamonds, good at taking out any kind of tokens, especially in combination with something that resets it. We do have... I mean, we have Yorion, of course. No Charming Prince worth mentioning. Charming Prince is a card that I'm personally very much a fan of, but I mean, I am a value player, so that... yeah, of course I'm going to be a fan of a card like Charming Prince. Great card, love it. Yeah, no Sylvan Library from David here, which is Interesting. David of the Ursa Saga trigger is going to find a pirate spell bomb and take care of Jan Jaap's Mother of Runes. If Jan Jaap is able to untap with a Mother of Runes, that is usually very, very bad. I can attest to that. The other week I played against someone who dropped 3 Mother of Runes, and then I realized I didn't have my board wipe in my deck, which is always fun. That's not what you want to be doing. Not at all. What you do want to be doing, though, is using Punishing Fire to get rid of some Flicker Wisps. Which, despite giving some life, yeah, it saves you a lot of trouble. And of course, David going to 17. Now for this first round, I actually forgot to put down the life counter. So, apologies for that. We'll try to figure things out for every other match after this. It's thankfully on the field. But of course, the one time I forget it is the matchup with Punishing Fire and Grove of the Burnt Willows. But, you know, it happens. It happens. Whoever said content creation was easy is... like, partially right. Like, there are some easy aspects to it. Like, it's fun. That makes it easier. Didn't quite see what Jan Jaap drew here. But he's thinking about it. Hasn't conceded yet. Despite a very powerful combination of cards against his deck. Maze of It going to prevent Spirit of the Labyrinth's damage here. Did he do that before? Did I take off the 3 for no reason? I might have. I'll try and keep my ears open for that. See if I can hear anything. Anyway, we have Punishing Fire going to take care of the Spirit, and Jan Jaap is not looking too good right now, but he is still playing. The Shan board going to tap Forest. No point in tapping the Grove here, knowing he can just activate it in response. Another Ursa Saga coming down. That is the 3rd one we've seen so far. Not quite up to the 7 lands for the Field of the Dead yet, but we are getting there. We are getting there. Another land for Jan Jaap. Jan Jaap saying he kept a 1-lander on the back of 2 vials and is currently with 7 lands on the field. Yeah, that's rough. That is rough. 1-lander, draw 6 lands. Against their opponent who has pretty much infinite removal spells and is now threatening to just start making a bunch of zombies. Because if you thought the Punishing Fire was bad, the zombies are going to absolutely destroy Jan Jaap if they start flooding the field. So whatever he is going to do, he needs to do it fast. Now Yorion, notably a threat with a big rear end. Very nice, very nice. 5 toughness. Gonna take a lot of Punishing Fires to take that one down. And we're not quite there yet. Tabernacle, not really what David wants to be doing here. Punishing Fire, gonna keep Jan Jaap a little bit more fair. And Yavimaya Making a bunch of forests, which... yeah, Jan Jaap doesn't really care about, but David certainly does. Definitely upping his mana count, upping his resource count, but most importantly, upping his unique land count for the Field of the Dead. David gonna pick up Kihira as well. And looking pretty bad for Jan Jaap here. Not completely over, but it's not looking great. It's like Recruiter of the Guard was the draw for Jan Jaap. Of the Guard. One of the cards that makes it so much easier for a deck like this to play 80 cards. Because between the Recruiter and the Stoneforge Mystic, you just have all the tutor effects you need to just get the cards that make a difference. So, what is Jan Jaap going to do here? He probably needs Yorion, but Yorion's not quite as fast. He's going to vial in the Recruiter of the Guard first. Thinking about a card in his deck. Not quite sure what he's thinking of. What he could be thinking of. Maybe Palace Jailer, try and get the Monarch and draw himself out of this flood. That's a possible consideration. Maybe he just wants to have a quick look-see before he decides on a line of play. That's probably good too. Could go for the Sanctum Prelate on 2. Try and shut off the Punishing Fire. Of the Plow Beast, Prelate. Come on. There we go. Could help rebuild his board using that. But that would only work if he is able to push through the zombies, which that might be a bit of an issue, actually. Yeah, that Prelate might be just a tad too late. David asking if he is able to respond to Prelate entering the field with a Punishing Fire, but now as soon as the Prelate hits the field, you name a card and it's too late. You either counter it or it's on 2. Nothing in between there for David to respond to. And like, what's it called? Meddling Mage. Meddling Mage works the same way. Once you hear what card is named, yeah, that card is not being cast in response. We have Prelate Yorion. I didn't quite catch the third card there. Prelate coming down. In response, David is going to Punishing Fire the Recruiter. Might as well, because the card is not doing anything else anymore. And in response to the Punishing Fire being cast, Jan Jaap decides to tap the Grove, so that David can get it back at this time. Spirit of the Labyrinth was the other card for Jan Jaap. He's with one card in hand, which both players know is Yorion. has managed to rebuild his board somewhat. But not out of the woods yet. Now, David going to make a construct before sacking the Ursa Saga and then going to fetch. We already saw the Pirate Spellbomb, we've seen the Soul Guide Lantern. Not a lot of targets left. I mean, we have Expedition Map. I suppose we still have Shadow Spear. That pretty much... Yeah, I could go for Mox Diamond, but I don't know why he would. Technically illegal, yeah. It's probably a Shadow Spear. I would imagine it's going to be Shadow Spear here. Oh, actually, if he's worried about lands, like, if he doesn't have a land, he could go for the Expedition Map, but like, there's no way he doesn't have a land in hand, right? Like, deck named Lands isn't holding any lands, he has 3 cards in hand. Yeah, no, he goes for the Shadow Spear. Another card that has really solidified itself as a multi-format staple with the help of Urza's Saga. There we have Thespian Stage, which is the 6th land again with Urza's Saga going to the graveyard this turn. So still not quite on the Field of the Dead, but it's right around the corner. And David has not taken a lot of damage. Jan Jaap does not have a lot of time to deal that much damage. And try and equip Shadow Spear. Jan Jaap probably glad he removed a bunch of artifacts earlier. That is a 4/4 construct right now, which is not bad, but it means he's not entirely free to attack either. Because Jan Jaap will most likely double block. I mean, would he double block? Because if you double block, you definitely lose both of them. And then suddenly you're staring down Punishing Fire with like no cards anymore. Like we're basically back to where we were before, right? Yeah, so probably wouldn't even. Oh yeah, but he couldn't attack because the construct summoning sick. Right. Jan Jaap going to play Yorion here. Opted not to keep open Rishadenport, instead going for the double white. Is he holding... Does he have a card in his deck with double white? No, he doesn't, right? He used Lion Sash, so it's not bad. Don't see a 3-mana creature with a activated... no, I do see one. He could, like... No. Cathar Commando's 2, so he can... Oh, he can flash in Cathar Commando, but he could do that off of a Rishan port as well, right? I guess... Probably doesn't really matter. See, Dark Depths coming down here for David. I think that is his 7th land? Yeah, I think that is his 7th land. And he forgot to trigger the Field of the Dead. Yeah. Definitely has 7 cards with different names here. Probably a bit focused on trying to go for the Dark Depths combo, but that's not happening anyway. Jan Jaap has Has too many. No, I mean he has Caracas for that, so I wouldn't say too many answers, but Thalia looks like the draw for Jan Jaap here. Going to get asked. And then yeah, a little bit unfortunate that David forgot about the Field of the Dead here, because that would have been really nice to have here. Like, those zombies can do a lot of work in a board state like this. And Construct's definitely nice to have. Threatening Dark Depths is also a nice thing to have. It means Jan Jaap now has to keep open his Caracas for, well, for quite some time here. This Merit is still a very scary card. Maze of Ith going to take care of Yorion attacking here. Looks like Jan Jaap forgot about that one. But David certainly didn't. Wait, did he make a zombie? Not the blue thing on the field. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe that's the zombie. Maybe I'm being a bit silly. Looks like David activating Thespian Stage, trying to copy Caracas? Maybe considering bouncing Thalia? Does he really care about Thalia at this point? I mean, she's good at eating zombies, I guess. Huh. Yeah, not sure. This is kind of a strange board state, if you think about it. Ooh, was that a Life from the Loam? I think there was a Life from the Loam, which unfortunately David can't cast because the Sanctum Prelate is still on the field here. Oh, he's gonna try though. And Jan Jaap definitely corrects him. So he does, fortunately enough, get his mana back, because he's just trying to do something that he can't. Not that he gets countered. It's not like a chalice. He doesn't get countered. He actually can't play it, so he gets to take it back. But he does reveal to Jan Jaap that he does have Life from the Loam, and that Sanctum Prelate is going to be incredibly valuable here. And we reach the ever-famous Death and Taxes board stall here, where you got a couple of creatures that kind of lock down the board, but you can't quite attack because you don't want to lose your creatures. Your opponent can't quite attack because it doesn't actually do anything. Thankfully, David isn't playing Maverick. We've seen where that matchup goes plenty of times. But anyway, Tabernacle has been sitting in David's hand for a couple of turns now and is finally in a position where it's able to shine. Where 4 mana is all of a sudden a lot of mana. Now, is Tabernacle... Let's see, is Tabernacle... Yeah, it's legendary. So we can't use Thespian Stage to put 2 Tabernacles into play, which I think we should be glad about, because multiple Tabernacles is not something I would consider healthy for the format, but yeah. Well, interesting. Looks like Jan Jaap pays 2 mana bounces Yorion before taking the turn to save him a mana, and then lets the Spirit of the Labyrinth die. Now, the Spirit didn't really have text in this situation, but it was still a 3-1, you know? Still, some, yeah. I mean, it's tough. Like, you don't want to really have a 3-1 with an upkeep cost against someone making a bunch of zombies. Then again, the Tabernacle is going to work on David's zombies as well, so it's not the worst. Yorion coming down is going to exile the Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp coming back in end step is going to take out... What are we taking out here? Maybe a zombie? Yeah, it's going to take care of one of the zombies. Now, interesting line here with the Karakas being able to bounce Yorion. If he does it properly, he can do so while still protecting himself from Merit Lage, which is really interesting. And one of the upsides of just bouncing Yorion every turn is that he can start linking the Flicker Wisp every turn, so... Just working around Tabernacle actually with upside. Now, no card struck means that's a 3-3 zombie now. The speed stage getting ported is going to bounce Thalia in response, which means Thalia now also doesn't have an upkeep cost. But the end step Rishana port means no Yorion resets for this turn. Maybe next turn. Thalia can be vialed in, and I didn't quite see what the draw was for the turn. I think it was a wasteland. Yeah, it was a wasteland. It's going to get rid of the Thespian stage. Now the threat of getting Merit Lage is also down. Jan Jaap going to be able to port the Maze of Ith and then swing in for 7. And is also going to vial in the Thalia for passing turn. Now, with all those flyers, those zombies aren't looking quite as hot as they normally would. That's a zombie, isn't it? Play Ghost Squatter, make a zombie? Ooh, looks like he did forget the trigger this time. Yeah, Jan Jaap giving him the token anyway, but reminding him that this is competitive REL and he should be mindful of that sort of thing. But good guy that he is, he would rather him make the token than win by rule sharking him like that. So plus points for Jan Jaap here, definitely. But plus points don't win matches, unfortunately. Bunch of big flyers certainly help, though. Also worth mentioning that we're a good 40 minutes into game one here. So time in the round is going to be very much a consideration. And we might not have time for game two here. Going to port the Mace of Ith again. And I'm considering if he's just going to turn everything sideways or whether or not he wants to keep open blockers. Not just the flyers. Which is going to put David to 3. And I think Jan Jaap is going to be able to close out this game. But that... Yeah, no, this... I'm thinking, what could David do here that could still win him the game? But I don't think there are many outs here. I mean, there are any outs here. At this point, Thespian stage making Merit Lage isn't going to be good enough anyway. Going to take care of the Dark Depths regardless. To tap for Tabernacle. Or for the turn is going to be a Wasteland. I don't think David has any more outs here. And he's holding so many good cards, but they're all 2 mana. Oh, there's Kahira, but yeah, it's Kahira. Yeah, no. That is definitely game 1 going to Jan Jaap. Let me quickly check if there's a game 2 here. There is absolutely a game 2 here. David on a mulligan to 6. And down a game with not a whole lot of time left on the clock. So it is do or die for him if he wants to maybe make a draw out of this. Jan Jaap coming in with a turn 1 Mother of Runes. David with a turn 1 Exploration. Gonna put 2 Sagas into play here and is considering one of 2 other lands. Going to be Yavimaya. Is David just gonna get a quick couple constructs on the field and just win like that? 5 minutes in the round being called. Second Mother of Runes. Gonna make a construct and untap. Actually, just making a bunch of constructs. Not the worst thing in the world here. Mother of Runes, very notably, cannot give protection from colorless. Unlike Giver of Runes, but Giver of Runes, of course, does not protect itself. Whereas the mom takes good care of herself. Absolutely. Let's see, we have 2 construct, 1 summoning sick. Get a Pithing Needle coming in. Going to name... Not sure what the Pithing Needle names. There is a Pithing Needle here. And our Tabernacle. Of course, a Thespian's Stage. Gonna attack for 3. Pretty fast opener for David. It's definitely something he needs. Yeah, don't quite know what the pithing needle was placed on. Could have been Ether Vial, could have maybe been Wasteland. Wouldn't be the worst name here, actually, considering the current board state. Try and protect your Ursa Saga, your Thespian stage, probably, possibly. I mean, coming to Ursa Saga as well, and then just flooding the board with constructs here. Yeah, scary stuff. Scary stuff. Tabernacle doing a lot more work than it did last game as well. Okay, the pithing needle was not on Wasteland. Is going to take out the Thespian stage, but not before making another construct. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Last game we had a Tabernacle against someone keeping a one-lander, and Tabernacle didn't really do much for most of the game, until eventually it started picking up some steam. Looks like we have a fourth construct coming down, and then 3 constructs that are going to be 6/6 each. So that's 18 power worth of creatures on board. That is lethal if Jan Jaap decides not to block. So these mothers are going to take one for the team here. Or at least one of them is. I guess maybe both? Nah, probably just one, right? Block both. Still take 6 here. You go to 11. And you end up having to block again next turn, I guess. Not a good spot for Jan Jaap to be in here. Like, he just needs to hold out. He needs to run the clock right now. That's Jan Jaap's win condition, but David is gunning for it. Oh, wait, actually, he didn't make the 4th construct. Oh, wait, no, he just paid for the ones he had. Which is fair. So we have a couple of 4/4 constructs here, yeah. Because we correct the expedition map before combat instead of after. Going to take out the Rashanan board here. I think that may have been a mistake. He thought he could take out the planes, but Wasteland says non-basic, so decides to just get rid of the Rashanan board anyway. I mean, it's functionally the same thing because you need to pay the Tabernacle tax or Mother of Runes anyway. Just pressuring the mana. Time is being called. They're figuring out which turn it actually is. Okay, the time was called during David's turn, and we are now in turn 1. Going straight to turn 2. Is David... Oh, I actually missed the last swing. It was for 8, so Jan Jaap is at 9 right now. Yeah. Jan Jaap going to 1. And David still has one more turn. So Jan Jaap needs to find something to do here. There are 3 creatures, and he needs to survive all 3 of them. He does have a land for the Flicker Wisp. He could maybe... If he has another creature... Oh, source the plowshares. Okay, he may be able to survive next turn. Does he have something he can violin? I think that's the Cathar Commando we saw earlier. So he would have to cast the Flicker Wisp, which takes care of one construct, blocks the second one. Oh, then he can't sort anymore. Oh, actually, I think it's a Spirit of the Labyrinth. It's a 2-mana creature, at least I think. Which I think means he can block. Jitte is probably not relevant. He's scared of something.
Ik kon Flicker Wisp die weghalen en dan de Spirit indoen. Ik kon de Spirit spelen en de Ensorten.
Oh yeah, because the Pithing Needle is on the Ether Vial. The Pithing Needle's on the Ether Vial, so he needs to Flicker Wisp the Pithing Needle to put in the Spirit of the Labyrinth, which means there's still one token coming at him. Which means that for our first match here, David manages to, at the very last minute, creak out the draw and make it a 1-1. Wow, incredible stuff. Incredible.